Peace, big love, big blessings, even bigger living, everything that come with it and everything in between. You are tuned in to Thinking Out Loud with Samuel David. It's just a conversation. Thinking out loud is a place of empathy, accountability, leveling up wherever we at in life. Hearing the stories of those around us to bring this world closer, right? Because when you invest, you, it makes for a much more better world.
Yeah.
Today I have a special guest, as is all guests. All guests are special, but today I have a super special guest. This man is a football coach. He is the owner and founder of Elite Athletic Training, Legacy Performance Club, husband, father, minister, one of my best friends in the world. I could keep going, but I love to welcome my main man, Vincent Martin.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, baby?
Appreciate you, bro.
Man, you know the vibes. What's up, bro? Man, I'm so glad to have you here.
Man, I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yes. Don't lie.
I'm glad I got the invitation. I was waiting on it.
Yes. Well, we've been doing this thing for a minute. So now the show really rocking, and now we get to have some of our conversations for the world.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And by a minute, you mean we was doing this about 8-9 years ago?
Some years ago. Like pre-pandemic type. Like, you feel me?
In the basement.
In the basement. Right. So V, the first question I love to pop the show off with, because I don't write a lot of questions and I do my research. I know the people I sit down with, but it really kind of guides the conversation.
For sure.
How is your spirit?
Man, my spirit is blessed.
Yeah.
It's aware that I'm blessed, healthy, prosperous, victorious. Yeah, it's all that.
All of that.
Yeah.
You said something, bro, that was kind of powerful. Aware that you're blessed. What does that even look like? Because I can imagine a lot of times we walk through this world and we think it's us.
Yeah.
We think we did it. But to say you aware that you're blessed, break that down for me.
Yeah, that means, just like what you said, I'm aware that what I have isn't based on me. I'm aware that I'm a vessel, and the more I'm willing to be used, he will use me. And whatever he calls to use me in, he provides for.
Yeah.
So I don't have to chase after the things that I want. It's a byproduct of me being aware.
Yeah.
That I'm in a relationship. So I can go deep, but that's what I mean.
We swim in the deep end.
Yeah.
That's where we are now. I love that. That's important, man. And you serve something bigger than you.
Yeah.
You serve big God, right? And in all of the things that I listed that you do in your day-to-day, you serve others. What humbled your heart to be in the space to serve? Because coaching is serving, minister is serving, training folks is serving.
Absolutely.
What humbled your heart there?
Man, if you look at my life coming to Kansas, 18, 19, I came in with a certain mindset and a belief system, and it was the exact opposite of what I am now. It was centered on what Vincent can do. You're young, you feel invincible.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mindset I had from about 18 to 20 years old. And then there was just that series of events where all that was taken from me, and I was doing stuff that I said I would never do, and I didn't even recognize me. And so that was when I was humbled.
Okay.
And then to be specific, it's that second chance. Everybody hears me say, man, when God gave me my second chance, it was fighting that trial, dealing with having a son on the way and a daughter already here, and that mindset that's what I had growing up. And so growing up, I always said, man, whenever I have kids, I gotta be there for them. So, that's what humbled me.
Okay. We think out loud. We're going to go deep. Let's take a step back. So you say second chances, right? And we know each other. We talk in real life.
Already.
But if you care to share.
Absolutely.
Right. What you said you was a whole different person. Where were you at in life before that humbling?
Man, all decisions were for me.
Okay.
It was self-gratification. I knew I always had the vision. I always had a plan, but it was wrapped in ignorance and flesh. So, when you make decisions that are based in the flesh, it equals death. So if you want to live, you have to have decisions that are influenced by the spirit.
Word.
So that period of my life, I was governed by the flesh. And so when I hit that rock bottom and everything was stripped from me, God came right back and was like, listen, let's try this again.
Yeah.
Now this time do it by the spirit. And so here we are 15, 16 years later, consistency, you know, now I'm the opposite.
Word. Whole new man.
Yeah.
Second chance, reborn. Man, let's talk a little bit. So you eat athletic. Athletic, that's saying the same thing twice a day in there, right?
Yeah.
Elite athletic training.
Yeah.
So you train athletes in multiple sports. What all sports you train?
Man, it's probably easier to talk about the sports we don't train, right? Like we had a little girl that rode horses, you know, did like rodeo.
Yeah.
We got swimmers, hockey. Everybody know the big sports, football, baseball, basketball, track.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we have an understanding of the body.
Okay.
So, you know, even if we are not fully knowing about a sport, we have a panel, we have a group, we come together as a team and we say, okay, what movements does this sport need? What are some of the common injuries? How do we be proactive in that instead of reactive? How do we build complete athletes? So that's our approach. So when you have that approach, every athlete can be trained by us.
Word. That's fire. That's fire. When you're training athletes, what age group you looking at? Middle school, high school, adults, college?
Man, we've done 4-year-old one-on-ones where you are just teaching a kid how to skip, how to roll, you know, those movements. And we got athletes all the way up to the collegiate level, professional level. Of course, all of our high school and elementary and middle school, that's the bulk of our athletes. But yeah, we do it all. And we serve, you know, the active adults.
Word.
You know, so we try to reach, not try, but we reach everybody.
The whole gamut. That's fire. I could, you know, I do life coach, right? I know you do performance coach, mindset coach, right? On top of the training, I can only imagine the amount of bad habits you got to help folks break.
Yeah.
Right. What is that like, bro? Like when you, because I'm sure you got folks, you know, you got strangers coming in and they got to be bought in, of course, because they're breaking bread to come in there. But what are some of the bigger challenges you see with breaking bad habits?
Not knowing that it is a bad habit. So again, looking at it from a self-gratification point of view, what am I going to get out of it and how fast can I get it?
Yeah.
So working with athletes, one of the first things that I establish on the mindset side is, okay, this is a commitment and you got to be consistent. I'm not going to ask much of you in the beginning, but whatever I ask of you, I need you to be consistent. Okay. We're going to identify 10 affirmations. You're going to spend 1 minute in the morning, 1 minute in the evening.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing for the first week. Come back, we're going to talk about it. And we build on that. It's compound interest. It's the exact opposite of self-gratification right now, gratification. So that's our whole approach. And I say our, right now I'm the only one, but what I'm believing is we'll have a school, we'll have an academy of this is what we do.
Yeah.
You know, I disciple and bring up mindset coaches, you know, principles we identify, and that's how we'll help the athlete.
That's fire. You say we, and I know you say the mindset pieces, that's what you're working in, but I know you got a team and the
yeah, that's important for people to know.
For sure.
So yeah.
What is it like building that team of like, 'cause man,
this the question.
Like, what's it like building that solid team that you trust, that you can delegate to, that you can hold accountable, that can hold you accountable? Because I always think like with a team, the best team, you got people that's better than you in some way, shape, or form in what they do. So what is that like building your squad?
Man, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's been a process because we've tried with a lot of people. But the main thing is it allows me to be more than I could be by myself. So Ashton, who owns Accelerate, we all under the same roof. He's PT. man, he got 2 or 3 degrees and certifications, everything, things that I don't have, but he has a teammate mindset. So it's like, hey, let's do this together. Okay, you got your niche, I got my niche. There's things that we can compound on and that can create another niche. And so when you build like that, I like to think of not a pyramid where I'm on top and people support me, but everything I do is here. It's lateral.
Word.
You know, so that has been fun finding people that fit that mold, because not everybody fits that mold.
Discernment. How do you what? Listen, we gonna go.
Yeah.
I know you talked about having folks before that just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what does that discernment kick in to be like, all right, this is not a right fit. We might be cool, but for what we building, you just not a right fit. You know what I mean?
So the first thing is identifying what it is that we are doing. You know, knowing who we are before we go trying to find pieces. That way, when you find them pieces, you know, you already got things in place that I can't pick a better word right now, but you're judging them based on.
For sure.
Right. And so there's, you know, there should be some kind of mechanism to where you assess them. And if this many things out of this many things don't line up, we know up front it's not a good fit. But let's say people make it past that point. We believe in transparency in relationship. So even if you make it past this point, how invested are you in? Are you showing up? What ideas are you bringing? You got to be rowing the boat.
Yeah.
So in between that and more than anything, praying, you know, praying some more.
Yeah.
And then being honest with each other and transparent in conversation, man. That's how we've been able to navigate.
That's fire.
Pick and choose and have the right pieces.
Man, that team is everything. Teams win championships.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Listen, I'm sure anything I say to you, Vincent, you done said to somebody 100 times. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why you're one of my best friends, bro. Because I just know, like, the mindset you have is inspiring. I've been trying to shy away from motivation, because motivation is fleeting. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, right? But when you're working with an athlete that's motivated today, not motivated tomorrow, and this might be part of the affirmation you was talking about. How do you hold them accountable to what they said? You know what I'm saying? To what they said they was going to do. Yeah,
absolutely. So again, identifying before we even start, what is your why? What are you here for? Man, this ain't a knock to the YMCA, because if you know me, you know that was a big part of where I am today. But you know, this isn't a recreational event.
Word.
So if you're showing up, there's an expectation that you're here to work.
100%.
So when we set those boundaries up front, that's the first line. The second thing is we're tracking results. You know what I'm saying? The kids come in with goals. We're tracking results. That way, there's something that can let the athlete know, look, you're making progress.
Word.
You may not feel like it, but based on these measurements, and it's because you're showing up. And just like with an adult, a young person is going to be motivated by that. They're going to be inspired by that. Also, building an atmosphere. When our athletes come and train, you usually get a group, and that group will train year round. You know, even though they in different sports, they'll come and go, but they'll build them relationships. They'll build the competition, and it's the atmosphere that keeps them committed, even when they don't want to. And man, don't let me get too far without mentioning our connection with parents, right?
Okay.
Because if a parent brings us their kid, that's their prized possession. They're making an investment. We have kids. We understand that. That's why we appreciate their teachers, principals, you know, all that. So when somebody brings us their kids, we make that connection with the parents. You know, the parents ain't just dropping us off way in the distance. They know who we are. They can text Ty. They can text me. The one-on-one coaches, they can text the coaches. And so it's just a culture.
100%. Ooh, and culture beats strategy all day.
Every day.
Man, listen, so you mentioned Ty, and I was waiting. And you say we, and I know it takes.
That is absolutely.
It takes a strong woman to hold a strong man down. To build a strong man up.
For sure.
You feel me? What was it like making that leap with your wife who just so happens to be my daughter's trainer. And I got to say, sidebar,
Yeah.
the results is crazy.
Yeah.
We
I
at the
appreciate
gym, I'm looking over at my daughter like, oh, that's a new exercise you're doing. Like
Yeah.
I was hitting the track today and I was just watching her get busy. I'm just admiring
Absolutely.
like the hard work she's putting in and knowing that that's come from a lot of the work that y'all put in with her over at East.
Absolutely.
So salute to y'all for that.
Yeah.
Sidebar. We think out loud though. That's where we at with it.
Absolutely.
But what was that like building this? You got kids, having another baby.
Yeah.
Right. And you and wife, you're bringing this up.
Man, so I can't think of a woman other than my mama and my grandmama that is as well put together as my wife.
Word.
And you, man, I can't even put into words, but I am. So years ago, when I shared the vision with Ty, she never doubted it. Even to this day, when I come up with a new idea or I want to pursue something, my wife isn't like, well, you know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, okay, so how are we doing that? When are we doing that? Like, what do you need from me? And she's a super servant. She was giving birth to Zion in labor, typing up my resume for a job that, I was going to be interviewing for.
Yeah.
Like her commitment is crazy. And so you talk about a strong woman. I can't say I would have accomplished half of what I accomplished without Ty.
100%.
People may see me on the front and everything else, but everything that really matters is really Ty.
Yeah.
Even her taking the leap, the 9 to 5, trusting me in it. She makes me feel like a man,
Yeah.
And man, I can't put it in words.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Ty.
That shit's special, ain't it?
Yeah.
Excuse my language. I go wherever I go. But when you have a partner who is truly a partner,
A true partner.
100% on both sides, and just making the thing that y'all share together that much better.
Absolutely.
Man, I love it. And some of these questions I'm gonna ask you, I already know the answer to, but I just I love that you have such an inspiring story, right? That so many others may not know, or they may know and could use a reminder of like, knowing from, you can go from here to here, right? And you alluded to it a little bit earlier. I gotta ask, man, as you talk about your wife, man, how did you know she was that one? Like, cause y'all been married how long?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I got him. You got to cut this out.
I've been married 13, so.
Okay, so yeah, 14.
15,
14.
14, okay. And I know your anniversary is right around the same time
Yeah,
as
same
ours.
time as, yeah.
Okay, so 14 years.
And we've been together 16, going to be 17.
17.
Yeah, so that's about right, 14 years.
So knowing who you were as a boy.
As a boy.
Even as an adult, as a boy, because I recognize when I was an adult before I got my life together, I was a boy, right? What made you know, okay, this woman is special?
Yeah. So the first time I saw Ty, she was working at Dillard's. No. Yeah, that was the first time I saw her. And Shane and Sean was the twins was throwing polos and J's.
Okay, I was probably in there.
Or was it J's and stilettos? I don't know.
J's
but they was throwing parties, right? And the theme was Jordan's polos. And it's like $8.50 on like a Thursday night, whenever the party was.
Yeah.
And she closing up, and I'm coming through. I got a pair of shell-toe Adidas, and I'm trying to find a shirt. She was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm going to this." She was like, "The theme is Jordans." I was like, "Yeah, I'm different,
Yeah.
But listen, she was so aggravated, but she literally helped me pick out a whole outfit. That's like the theme of our marriage. Like even to this day, she'll be aggravated, but she gonna get me to the finish line.
What?
So that was the first time we met. But then the second time we met, well, first off, she made an impression on me right then. I was like, man, that was just different energy. Because the type of people that I was around, she was just different. She was in college. She ran track. She was a 4.0 student. Like she was the exact opposite of what I was at the time.
Word.
She felt like she was out of my league. And so the second time I met her was literally on the second chance night when God truly revealed himself to me.
Yeah.
I had some spots get rated the night before, bailed out.
Okay. Hold on, you got to paint the picture. So you
Yeah.
say spots get raided. And if you want to go deep, you let me know.
Yeah.
So spots get raided. What you mean?
Like my traps had some spots.
Okay.
You know, I'm an entrepreneur. The same mindset I got now,
Yeah.
I had that same mindset when I was young and dumb. I knew whatever I applied it to, I was going to be able to be successful in.
Using the streets, using your superpower for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons.
I'm tracking.
Okay. So get raided, bail out, re-up, go back to the spot, go to jail again.
You was a bad criminal. Man said, I ain't learned my lesson. Keep going.
Listen, I'm sitting in the county and I'm thinking it's just like every other time.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, when they put my fingerprints in, I'm gonna look over, see what my bond is. You know, I probably came in with that in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But this night, there was no bond. And so, you know, I'm sitting in the county and it all just started making sense. Because, you know, this was a buildup of things. You got to think 6 months before then, I was on a football field.
Yeah.
You know, I was pursuing a pre-med in psychology to be in the county.
Yeah.
So just as fast as I was able to apply these principles and build it up, I built my home on sand. So when it came coming down, it took no time.
Yeah.
So long story short, I go back to jail, no bond. I'm like, all right, God, wherever I wake up tomorrow morning, you know, I know my grandmama raised me in the church. I already know I'm serving you. I'm gonna make this commitment. Wake up the next day and they like, Martin, you know, so I get my bed, you know what I'm saying? I'm going upstairs. They're like, no, you getting out. And I'm like, what you mean?
Word.
He was like, well, do you want to stay? And I'm like, no. You know, what I later found out is they whopped my charges.
Okay.
But listen, I get out, I'm walking down Main Street. The homie come pick me up, Rodney Hunt. Shout out to the twins,
Word.
right?
Word.
Robert and Rodney Hunt. Take me to my first apartment, you know. Big old green sticker on the door, you know. Because they had just raided all my spots. So long story short, I didn't have nothing. He drops me off at Dillard's, right? So I walk in and it's Ty again.
You went to Dillard's on purpose or just?
I just got out of the county. I had to go get some clothes. All my spots, you know, none of it was my property anymore.
Humbling.
Remember I told you.
Yeah.
Turning point. So drop me off at Dillard's. I go in. Listen, I done been in the county. I'm at my lowest. And I see Ty, you know.
And how long had it been since the first time?
Since the first time, I don't know, maybe a month.
And this is your second time?
This was my second time seeing her.
Okay.
And so I can even tell you, she had on a oversized, like, white shirt, had some rhinestones on it, like a face. She had on some black tights, silver flats. She had her hair pinned up. And when I seen her that time, you know, people say love at first sight.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what it is, but I would imagine it would have been that. Even though that wasn't the first time I laid sight, I saw her. This time, it was that love at first sight feel, where it was like overwhelming, where it was like, and what I later found out, this is how God works with me.
Yeah.
Right? When I prayed to him that night, I'm like, God, wherever you wake me up, you know, he was like, listen, this is where you woke up, and I'm going to give you a helper. And that's exactly what Ty was.
She in white like an angel.
What? I'm talking about through detox, you know?
Yeah.
Ask her about when I was in the weekly at K96 in Oliver. You know, she's in college, she working hard, doing her studies. I'm detoxing off of X pills on the top floor.
Yeah.
You know, and call her, hey man, there's somebody outside my window. She like, Vincent, you on the top floor. And you know, back then it was just cornfields. Now you got the quick trip and all, you know, and so, man, that was like 2 weeks, you know, not eating anything, and she was there. She made sure I ate, you know. When it was time to get back on my feet, she was the one pushing me like, just because you're going through this case or you got, you know, because I had other charges too, you know, so when I was going to places and applying, it didn't matter that I was a pre-med psychology, you know, football playing kid just a year ago. Right now, you know, I got this charge and I'm fighting these charges.
Yeah.
But she always encouraged me and pushed me. And that same thing that I was explaining to you, when I come up with the idea and how she's instantly in support, like that's how she was.
Word.
She's the reason I came back to Kansas.
No doubt.
Right? So my daughter was maybe no, I take it back. It was her first birthday.
Okay.
About 2 weeks before her first birthday, bro. And at this point, I had nothing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I got to go back home. You know, humbling, right? The sickest feeling ever, because the whole reason I even stayed in Kansas because I had a child.
Yeah.
And I made that promise that when I had a child, it wouldn't be like what it was with my parents.
Okay.
Like, you know, my mama didn't raise me. My daddy died in prison, served pretty much a life sentence and died in prison. So that was my relationship. So I said, man, I don't want my kids to be like that. So I had to go home for them 2 weeks. And Ty was like, listen, whatever you got to do to be in her life, like, you can do that. Like, let's do that together.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done for these last 16 years.
Ooh, so many words in there. Like, so many life lessons, so many,
Man, I know. I could.
It's so many spaces we can go, man.
Yeah.
And first question I want to ask, did you think you was going to the league? Like, were you that nice at football to where?
Man, you know, I was in league. I was 100 and, at my heaviest, 160 pounds. Well, when I got to college, I was 125.
Okay.
Could I play the game? Yes, I could play the game. I could play the game very well.
Yeah.
I grew up playing the game in the Dallas area. You know, I went to Rockwell High School, played against the Planos and the Mesquites and all. So my level of competition and playing, and even what I accomplished at Tabor and what me and my teammates accomplished, I could play, but I always knew that wasn't going to be the end goal.
Yeah.
I was the first, no second person in my whole family to ever go to college. My grandmother was the first one. Right. So what I was chasing was different. Athletics was just the gateway to get me there.
Okay. That's why you mentioned your grandmother a lot, and hearing about your pops passing away in jail. Condolences for sure. You've broken so many curses, generational cycles, I like to call them. And knowing how much you serve, how much you remove yourself from a lot of things you do. And I know this because you're my man. So how often do you take that step back and just look at your life like, man, I made it here?
Yeah. Because of that humbling experience, it was hard for me to tell myself good job for a long time.
Yeah.
And Tiffany Burks, who was my mindset counselor, you know, over a course and period of time, she taught me to tell myself good job. Like, and I know that sounds funny, but
it's real.
You know, a lot of people look at my outside and, you know, they assume or think maybe I came up and I ain't really never had no struggles. And maybe they could think the exact opposite. I'm just saying, it's been voiced sometimes that people look at me and it's like, man, I never would have guessed. But my upbringing was, man, I cried like I was a crybaby until a certain age, and then I didn't cry again until I was 25. And so, you know, on top of the Texas football mindset of being tough and being the youngest of five, being tough, being little, being tough, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was hard for me to give myself those congratulations on top of my college career being on the way up and me wanting that instant gratification and causing that fall that led to trapping, that led to all that. But once I've learned how to tell myself good job, man, every day.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah. Like God just blessed us with our dream home 1.0, because it's definitely the in-between for the next one. But I'm so grateful. You know, and so I walk out on the deck every day and I say, man, God, look, I made it. And when I say I made it, I'm just talking about I made it to this level, because I know there's more stairs.
For sure. Ooh, that's a bar.
I'm just chilling here because the last flight was high. And so I say, man, when I make it there, I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm going to enjoy it, but I know there's more. But every day, you know, every day when my daughter pulls up and she's driving, you know, every day when Zion, people are giving me compliments on my son and how well he carries himself. Yeah. You know, so like in all things, man, I find a reason to just be like, yeah, I made it. And I don't feel arrogant about it. I don't feel conceited about it, because, I know what it took to get there.
100%. Ooh, bars. And everything that it took to get there, you're still pushing forward.
Oh, still pushing.
Right. And you're giving it to others to help them push.
Facts.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's a really good
And listen, so I'm about legacy.
Yeah.
You know, because when my daddy got locked up, it was me and my brother Chris, and he would always tell us, like, this is the end of the line. So my whole mindset was I wanted to reverse all that
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want the Martin name to have a certain connotation or a stereotype or any kind of label unless, you know, they had to put roses behind it.
Yeah.
So the way I move, man, yeah, I want to grow, but I want people to grow beside me.
100%.
And I don't just say that. There's people you can ask that'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm living proof of that.
Yeah.
Man, in the last year, we helped three businesses start that were not our businesses, and we were their first customers.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
You know, my best friend, okay, Kendall Davis.
Yeah.
You know, we started speaking some things into existence, and there was a period where I say, bro, I'm gonna go and get it started. And when it's ready and you ready, like, come on.
Yeah.
And he can tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because every day now we in the car together looking at houses. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
But it's all about, I learned that first off, I can do a lot on my own. But if I build those relationships and I put people in place, we can do more.
Okay.
Not I can do more, but we can do more. And so that's how I function. And that's what one of my legacy pieces I want to be known for. He put people in place to be successful, to grow, to break generational curses, right? Because I can do it on the business side, but I can also do it on the spiritual side.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? There's people who locked up right now, hit me up on Facebook. Like, how do I find my identity in Christ? My grandmama always told me, my bad, I'm babbling. But
that's what we thinking out loud.
Yeah, my grandmama always told me that you know what your worth is based on what people call you for.
Ooh, grandma wise.
Yeah. My grandma is like that. God bless, she's still around.
Word.
Which goes to prove that the wages of sin are death, and the spirit is peace and life. She was that peace and life. She's the one that kept us in church and disciplined us and shaped us in the way of the Lord. So that was my foundation.
Yeah.
But my grandma always told me, you know your worth based on what people call you for. So first off, that's why everybody reaching out to me is important.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a need and somebody feels like I can help them there. Then once I find out what it is they are in need of, spiritual help, guidance, an encouraging word, that solidifies who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of mic drops in there, Vince. A lot of mic drops in there, man. Listen, the question I got to ask, you may have hit on it a little bit, but what was that moment that showed you that that type of collaboration was essential?
Yeah. So, like I said, I grew up in Rockwall, Texas.
Okay.
And our high school football program, even in 2004, the way it was put together, the resources and the facilities that we had are beyond where Kansas is right now.
Yeah.
And at a program like that, you didn't have one person doing 6, 7 different things. Everybody had a spot, and you took ownership of that spot, you know, and you whatever your lane was, that's what you did to the best of your ability. And so that was instilled in me at an early age.
Yeah.
Through football, through that structure of football. And now in business, it's that same concept. First off, I don't want to know everything. I don't want to do everything. But if there's a way for me to bring somebody on and that's what they're passionate about,
yeah,
there's a way to make the numbers make money. Like the money, I don't say this arrogantly because, you know, people say, oh, well, you can say that. You look at your house, no, but listen, money is low hanging fruit. It's how you approach it. If you approach it strictly for the money, you could get to it, but there's no foundation. But if you go about it through principle, right, and integrity, it multiplies itself naturally. And so that was my whole approach. Yeah. How do I do this organically with other people?
I love that. I love that. Principles. What would you say it's like your top 5 principles that you operate in on the daily? Because you know, top 5 principles.
Yeah, I would say in all things, pray and praise. That's principle.
Yeah.
Start the day with God, end the day with God.
Yeah.
Provide for my family, right? And that's important because whatever it is I need to do that day, it can't be dictated on how I feel. Now, don't get me wrong. There's times where I'm just sick. I literally can't do anything. But for the most part, my principle is you get up and provide.
Yeah. I love that.
You get up and provide. Disciple our kids. We don't end the night without some form of discipleship as a family together. So that is a principle. The word of God won't return void. So we speak it over them. We want them to understand that God ain't a million miles away. He's right there, and he requires relationship, and relationship requires talking, praying, and knowing his word. So that principle of discipleship is heavy in our house. And then the last one, for sure, pretty sure this is number 5, was our whole family needs to understand that it's our legacy. And even if you are the youngest, all the way up to me, we have a role. So we understand legacy and how it doesn't have to do with me as an individual, but the family as a whole. So what does that mean as far as principle? We say our affirmations every night. We are proud to be Martins. We believe in God and his word. We love and protect our family. We're blessed and highly favored. Operate in that. Those are the principles that tie into our legacy. Operate in those.
Legacy. I'm gonna have to listen to that Jay-Z song now on the way home. Let's kind of swerve a little bit. We still talking family though. So your son Zion,
for sure,
top-notch athlete, football, wrestling, right? So I coach my son. I coach Lil Sam in basketball, and the boys that we have they hoopers. But none of them lived the life that I lived. Right. Your son obviously does not have to live the life that you live. Right. So a lot of the character building comes a little different. Right. Do you find that challenge? Because I always say, man, it's hard for me to. It's a challenge for me to put that dog in my son when I'm not raising him to be a dog. But I want him to be a dog in his athletics. Right. What's your take on that?
Well, that's why I definitely put him in wrestling. But man, one thing I learned with my son is he's not the exact opposite of me, but his interest in what makes him tick is a lot different than what makes me tick. So early, something that I feel like I regret is trying to force him to be a dog. Like especially his first couple of years in sports, trying to force him instead of finding his way. Now, I learned early, and I thank God for that. I figured it out early. Thank God for discernment and prayer and wisdom and insight. And so I let him figure that out. But it is hard because I'm a talker, obviously. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a couple of times I'm going to be way off from where I started, but I'm a talker. But him, bro, this dude, but I sent him a long message. His coach had said some nice words about him. But I sent him a long message about how proud I was of him, man. His response, and I can show you, was boom shakalaka, bro.
Boom shakalaka.
Or, hey, son, how was your day, man? Tell me about it. Good. But that's Zion. You know what I'm saying? He likes to draw. He goes in his room, man. He got a computer. Like, that's his world. I tell people it's funny because I'll see him on the mat or I'll see him on the field, and he's vicious. Like if you ever seen Zion, it's you can't argue that. Even the biggest hater, they will argue it, but anybody with sense is gonna be like, nah. But then when he comes off the mat, man, he grabs his phone and plays his little games, man. And I appreciate that because at that age I was a monster, in what I was thinking and pursuing, respectful. He's all that. So I can't tell you the last time I had to argue with him. But that's discipline. We built that in him at 5 years old. Zion can't tell you, and some people are going to think this is child abuse, but he can't tell you a time after 5 years old where he wasn't doing some form of training 4 days a week. You know what I'm saying? 100%. 4 days a week, he was doing something. If it was 2 days in practice, it was 2 days in the gym since he was 5. When you say, Zion, it's time for practice, he'll say, man, I don't feel like doing this. Now, why is that important? Because whatever you feed your kids, that's how they're going to operate.
100%.
So even though it was hard in the beginning, it got to a point, just like anything that you will persist and be disciplined in, it yields a result.
Yeah.
And you can be as strong as you want to be in anything as long as you're willing to be persistent and consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so Zion is the perfect example of that.
Word.
And not only that, he's the smallest, right? We knew that. When I married Ty, I knew we wasn't making big kids, right? We breed for speed. That's what I tell everybody,
Yeah.
right? We little people. So I said, son, if you want to play football, that's fine, but you're going to have to compete like you as big as these other people. They
100%.
put a big 6'1" receiver on another day, you know?
What grade is he in?
He's ninth grade.
Ninth grade, okay.
Freshman. And you know what? He lined up, man, with absolute confidence on how to cover him.
Word.
And all that comes down to is just that consistency and knowing, hey, if I'm gonna be here, I need to compete here.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Lil Sam, and I'm like, yeah, bro, it's I'm like gentle parent. Mm-hmm. You hear Sanaya laughing even, right? But that's dope because when I think about basketball with him, when he took it serious, it was COVID.
Yeah.
And I looked up, they doing school at home, and I was pushing him a little bit, but then I look up, he got the laptop outside putting up shots.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he ready.
Yeah.
So that same idea of like, yo, when they not pushing them or forcing them to have that, but once you start it, all right.
Yeah.
we locked in.
We locked in, yeah.
So you got 3 girls though. Mm-hmm. What is the difference
in all of them
in raising, and of course raising a young boy versus young girls? And then I'm sure all 3 of them have different mentalities.
Man, my bad, bro.
You good.
God, yeah, man. Believe it or not, I gotta parent them harder than I parent Zaya, man.
Word.
Especially that little yellow one, man, the little one. Man, there's the big yellow one too, man. Both of them.
Yeah.
And man, they all so just different. And man, I gotta stay on rollerblades, man, so I can pivot because you know, but it's different in the sense that I don't yell. I ain't gonna say I don't yell, but I try to talk to my kids. I want to give my kids a
100%.
platform. So a minute ago I was talking about how I'll give Zion a platform, and he's like, yeah. I give my girls a platform, they gonna talk.
Word.
And you know, my oldest daughter, of course, your firstborn, ain't nobody gave you no manual, and then they act just like you, just a girl version.
Soften your heart like a mug.
Man, so learning in those teenage years how to communicate with her, how to help her understand I'm not the enemy. There's a reason I'm doing. And man, our relationship is beautiful right now. And I'm seeing her mature, so that feels good. And then, you know, Zakiah, competitive, very dedicated, learning how to communicate with her is totally different. And then there's Zaria, competitive, and learning how to communicate with her. So
yeah,
it's different.
Zaria, the track star.
Yeah, that's our Olympic baby.
Boy, going to different.
And listen, again, not being arrogant, but the same concept that we applied to Zion, like we learned, we tweaked. So right now, as you've seen how she performed this year on the track, all we speak to her is about the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right? Like on her wall, she knows which Olympics she's going to be eligible for first. She's going to be 16 at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then how do we start that process? Well, we went to Junior Olympics, you know, did some great things. Okay. But what did the top time look like? And what does the top time look like for next year? Because that's the time we competing for.
Yeah.
And being consistent and being disciplined. Man, she done gave me fits pulling up to the track.
Yeah.
You know, but that don't matter. Because remember, the Olympics is in such and such, such and such. And this is the time that we're working for. Now, listen, if my kids end up being pro, great. But if not, that's principle.
100.
You can apply that to anything. Just like what I'm applying now to legal things, I used to apply to illegal things.
Word.
All you got to do is have the principles. Now, where did the principles come from? My bad, I didn't steer the whole conversation.
We drive here.
Listen, where do the principles come from so that you know you got the right principles? The Word of God. People want me, man, what book do you read, man? Where do you get the advice? Yep, Word of God, Proverbs.
Word.
You know, get in there, understanding God's Word. Business principles. Man, one time they had me on a panel with a whole bunch of real estate investors, and people was asking questions, and they giving all these numbers, and they got to me. I'm like, man, well, what I do is I want to think about the buyer.
Word.
How can I serve the buyer? When I buy a house, I don't even know who's going to buy it, but the work I do in it, I'm doing it as if I want that buyer to feel like they were valued.
Word.
Listen, I get the numbers, but I've been successful because I dealt the principles that are in the word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have to like you to love you.
Word.
Right? You can offend me and I don't have to retaliate. I can love you. I can have faith that even though right now this is where I may be, that if it aligns with God's word and I'm willing to believe and pursue it, that I could have it. And I apply that to business. It's principle. So I forgot what the original starting point was, man.
Sometimes it don't matter. I'm thinking out loud. It don't matter because we just think out loud.
Because listen, bro, principles.
Yeah.
Like, what is a principle? It's a rule. You can apply that rule anywhere, anytime, any place. It gives you the end result.
Word.
So people, they'll end up in a hole and they like, man, how did I even get here? Self-assess. Be real with yourself, because based on principle, you can work back to the root.
Yeah.
You ain't got to have a degree on that. Again, where do I find those principles in the word of God?
Yeah.
Do you have to sit down and just read the Bible from front to back and pass a test before? No, it ain't that.
It's not even built for that.
That's not what it's for. I ain't gonna say that's not what it's for, okay? You don't have to approach it that way.
Like a front to back thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you get in it. You make a commitment to it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And the word is living. So as you read it, the word will minister to you.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? It will minister to you. And now all of a sudden you're aware of the Holy Spirit. You let the Holy Spirit guide you. And you keep going until you get to a place where you are aware that you are blessed. Remember, from the beginning of that.
I see the wraparound. I love it. I love it.
That you are aware that you are blessed. Why am I so hopeful in that, bro? Because first off, with God, all things are possible, right?
Yeah.
Is it impossible to think that we could have a world where everybody operated like that? Now, being honest, no, bro, that would be impossible.
I mean, that's heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Like if we got everybody operating in the principles that are holy, that are spiritual, that are written.
Yeah.
Yo,
now, listen, my hope is, man, I live a life in such a way that people realize that that's possible, and it just spreads.
Word.
Like it's just revival, and it can't be denied by the naysayers, the haters, non-believers. It's just like, this ain't guesswork. God left us a manual, and he walks us through it. So, man, I had to share that.
We just thinking out loud, Vince. So in all the roles you hold, and I'm gonna expel father and husband from it, and all the roles that you hold, title or non-title, from minister to real estate to training to coaching, like which one is your favorite and which one is the most challenging for you? Like which one you be like, dang, this is getting the best out of me.
Yeah. Man, my favorite one is, I don't know how you would describe it, but just being a servant leader. So I love the idea of building something with other people. Yeah. But then once I have somebody and I'm building with them, how do I serve them? How do I make them feel valued? That's like my favorite role out of everything. Yeah. I love giving people their roses. But then at the same time, have that relationship to where I could be. Now, this is what I'm still working on, is delivering when they need to kick in the butt. You know, because I don't, first off, I'm time pressed, so I really don't want to sugarcoat nothing. Yeah. But I'm saying what I got to say out of love. So yeah, you got to learn how to take that. So I'm getting better at that, but that's my favorite out of all this.
Okay. Yeah. Servant leadership. And it's not even a title. That's not even a role. That's a verb. That's constant action. Yeah. That's a real thing. That's such a real thing. And I think a lot of times people that have the title of boss, manager, they don't operate as a leader. Yeah. It's more of like do as I say, not as I do.
Do as I do. Yep.
Versus like, yo, I'm here with you. We're going to move forward. Yeah. Like, here's how we're going to push through. Here's how I'm going to hold you to the fire.
Absolutely.
Here's how we're going to champion this whole thing. But on the flip of that, which one gives you the most challenges?
Owner.
Ooh, break that down for me a little bit.
So there's Legacy 6, I guess you could say incorporated, right? Okay. So that's what me and Ty established from the beginning. Now, under that, you got our gyms, you got our real estate, my public speaking, our clothing line. So as the owner over all that, first off, it's my vision,
Yeah.
right? So being responsible for my vision, being responsible for getting people to buy into my vision, being responsible for getting people to buy in because I'm bought into them.
Word.
So I feel like not that I have to perform, that's the wrong word, but I feel like I got to produce,
Okay.
right? And that's hard. And what's hard about that is not actually doing it because, it's principle. 1 + 1 = 2. It's the fact that emotions get involved, and I hate, even for a second, letting people feel like I let them down. So that's hard. It's like the mental side of it.
Yeah. That responsibility of not just yours, but all.
All. That is definitely the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can imagine it's probably the most rewarding.
It is the most rewarding, which is why I said, even though it's tough, I have the ability to one-step it until I get it done, because I know eventually that end result is going to benefit so many people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bars. All right, we getting toward the end to the finish line.
Yeah.
One of my favorite questions I love to ask, right? And I won't do 10 years for you. 15 years. Vincent now, if you could look Vincent 15 years ago in the face, what would you tell you?
Okay, so 15. Let me do my
Trying to put a math out.
If the numbers was bigger, I could do it in my head. So I'm 38 minus 15.
No, you didn't want to say that part.
So I was 23.
I think that might have been, no, I met you a little bit before that.
No, 23. No, that's probably about when you met me, because it was at Heart Spring.
Yeah.
Right before Zion was born.
I met you, I was like 19,
Yeah, I was probably
20.
21, 22.
Yeah, when I was a young boy doing all the extras and et cetera.
Yeah.
Thank God for growth.
Man.
All right, this ain't about me though.
Okay,
This
so
about
what
you.
would I told myself? So that's right when they brought my charges back up.
Okay.
After they whopped them, brought my charges back up. Zion was on the way.
Yeah.
Man, so I would tell myself that hope that I had during that, it was there for a reason. This vision was there even then.
Yeah.
Right? If I could go back to myself, I would just say, hey, bro, don't even trip.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is what it looked like right now. Don't even trip, though. That original vision is cool. Like, it's going to get delayed a little bit, but yeah, just keep going. That's all I would tell myself.
Fire.
That's all I would tell myself, man, because without getting too far off, man, I had somebody the other day, one of my competition people would ever say, Vincent stole my gym idea, right? And bro, because I'm competitive and, but I'm trying to go about that because I'll say cuss words if I go. Basically, when I heard that, it brought me back to 15 years ago, Vincent, when it was like, bro, I fought trial and held on to this vision.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not being able to eat because I didn't know if I was going to be there when my son was born. I had this vision.
Yeah.
So for you to try to insult me with something like that, like I stole from you, brother. Nothing I got came from stealing.
Word.
It came from being persistent and holding on to that hope and the vision from 15 years ago.
Facts.
But then I had to take a step back and get out my flesh. It was that fast. But at the same time, I stand on that. Like with anybody,
Yeah.
I believe in collaboration over competition. But if you're my competition, then we are competing.
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea of second place. You know, like
Word.
you can see that in my kids. You can see that in how we live, bro. Now, listen, I understand there's time for a second place. Sometimes you end up fourth place, fifth place. But I compete in such a way that my end goal is first place and to be at first place for a time. Not just, boom, I touch it, I got a ribbon. Like, no, I'm getting there and I'm going to dominate there. Right? Like, I'm humble, but people have to understand that. I don't want that to come across as like violent, like you either with me or no. I'm just saying, hey, if you believe in the vision, come on, we about to build something big.
I mean, you train athletes, you coach athletes. Like there's a piece that has to be like
you got
that type of aggressive assertiveness that's like, it's not offensive.
Yeah.
Right. But it's
absolute confidence. And
I'm dead set on what I know is for me.
I know it's for me.
And there is nothing that's going to stop me from that.
There's nothing that's going to stop. That's all I'm saying.
100%. I'm tracking. And it's ill to hear that somebody felt like you stole their idea, because I believe no idea is original.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything new under the sun.
Nothing new was under the sun, right? And it's not always about who had it first, about who did it better when it boils down to it. I mean, I just think to when I was helping you move some of the stuff in the gym, then I was in Texas for Lil Sam's game, and I'm in this facility, and I'm like, I see bigger than this for what y'all working on.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So man, it's ill to see you like say what you're gonna do.
Oh yeah, and then I'm gonna go do it
and make that trek, whether it's a paced walk or it's a race or a sprint, or just recognize the marathon, right? Like you are truly somebody that inspires me, that moves me to action, right? I'm just glad you pulled up, bro.
Yeah. For sure, I'm glad, man. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
About to be Friday night, man. You know what I mean, man? It's Friday, and I was like, when we had the mishap, I was like, oh man. Yeah. But it was probably perfect timing, bro, because we was getting ready for the move and everything. I just got a haircut yesterday.
Word. Because cameras forever.
Yeah. Which, hey, my boy Dorian.
Okay.
That's who cuts my hair, man.
Yeah.
Hey, if y'all see this, ask Dorian how me and him almost got down yesterday at my haircut. Man, just ask him. I'm gonna let him tell the story. All right. Dorian be playing too much stuff, but that's gonna
be the intro now.
All right, man. Yeah, we gonna get some views out there.
But no, man. Before we part, what thoughts? Anything you want to get off your chest before we part?
Man, I just word vomit, right? Because it's just on the inside of me. But I really want. Can I look at the camera?
100%.
Like I really want people as a whole. Okay, first off, watch the whole video. But second off, if you don't take anything else from this, understand that with God, all things are possible, right? And God doesn't make it complicated, right? If you lock in with him and you are willing to make those small investments in the beginning, and I say small because it doesn't take much. Once the word starts working in you, it'll do its part, and it will become a priority, and it will be the thing that you look forward to, and it will be the thing that brings you joy. So if you will make that investment, you will learn. God's no respecter of person, right? The same favor, the same anointing, the same everything that I got, you can have. I don't want anybody to view me and think like, oh, that's so far off. No, because I've been, right? And all I did was apply God to my life. So be motivated, encouraged, and inspired by that.
I love that. Listen, like I said, I'm mad appreciative that you pulled up on me. It's always a word. It's always a blessing to have conversation with you.
Yeah,
man. And I'm prayerful, confident, hopeful, and just knowing that you're going to continue
for sure
to execute in your gifts, to change the world around you to be such a much better world.
Absolutely.
And I love you, bro. I appreciate you.
Bro. No,
you know the vibes. You know the vibes.
Absolutely.
This has been Thinking Out Loud with Samuel David. Again, my brother, my guest, Vincent Martin. And we out.
Yeah.